So it's one of the funnest dirt cars on the sim in iRacing, but there's a lot of people that don't know how to drive them and would really like to learn. So in today's video, I'm going to show you the basics to driving one of my favorite cars on the sim, which is the Dirt Midget. So if you are wanting to learn how to drive that, or you want to learn how to get better at driving it, stick around. What's up, everybody? Thomas Brandon here. Thank you very much for joining me. And really quick apologies. I know it's been a little bit since I put out a video. The last couple weeks, to say that they were crazy is one of the greatest understatements ever. I think in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I think I've been averaging 110 hours of work a week, between SSR and then my other job. And it just and then my son's baseball literally finally like just finished like a week ago, and then we had a death in the family and funeral and just like all this stuff going on, so it's just been crazy. But anyways, we got all that behind us now and can get back to getting some stuff out here on the YouTube channel. So you guys, thank you very much as always for being here. If you are new, please, and you like this, hit that like button and then make sure to subscribe so that way you know when we put out more videos, including when I go live, which I will be going live today. We'll finally be getting back to live streaming. I cannot wait to get back to live streaming. I really miss it. It's just not very fun. I have hardly even raced or done anything in the last couple of weeks, so I'm looking forward to live streaming tonight and hopefully a couple more times this week, and racing and stuff like that. But anyways, what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about the Dirt Midgets. Now, the Dirt Midget is, in my opinion, one of the funnest cars on the sim. I mean, just overall, it's one of the funnest cars on the sim. And when it comes to dirt, I love the car. It used to be my hands down absolute favorite dirt car. It's not anymore, because of the recent updates that we've had to all of the dirt cars, not just the Dirt Midget, but all the dirt cars. The Dirt Midget for me is now number 2 in line. My favorite is the non-wing sprint car, because to me that has the most realistic feel. It is the hardest to drive, but it's also the funnest to drive. When you figure out that car, it's so much fun. And it's actually kind of funny because a good precursor to learning how to drive the non-wing sprint car is the Dirt Midget. It's like just smaller and got less horsepower, but the principles are actually quite similar when it comes to the Dirt Midget and the non-wing sprint car. So if you want to learn how to drive the Dirt Midget, well, then this is the video for you. I'm going to be showing you the basics to driving it, what setups you want to use to drive it, because that's something else. You don't want a setup that's unstable or flopping around or anything like that. So I'll show you a really simple way to take, like an iRacing setup or even just a plain old base setup, and use that. Okay, but the simple just techniques for the pedal, acceleration, brake, should you use the brake? If not, what do you do? Just all that stuff. All right, so let's head over to the track and let's take a look. All right, so first things first, we are at Fairbury right now. I actually chose Fairbury because at the time of recording this, the current official week is week 6, I believe. And whatever number it is, I don't know exactly, but they're at Weed Sport. Weed Sport's not a track I would recommend you making your first midget races at. And if you're somebody, maybe you're not a complete beginner, maybe you've been driving these things and you feel like you just can't quite get them figured out or something like that. Weed Sport is a pretty technical track, in every car, but the midgets as well, so I wouldn't recommend that. Fairbury is a very good track to learn at, and it's next week's official race. Also, Limaland is another really good track to learn at. Those two tracks are kind of my go-to tracks for learning the Dirt Midgets. Like if you are new or less experienced and you want to learn the Dirt Midget, Fairbury and Limaland are two amazing tracks for it. They really are, because you're going to learn, really how to get the car rotated, how to get it set, how to keep it straight, how to use the throttle, all that stuff. Okay. So we're at Fairbury. The setup that I'm using is one of the SSR free base setups. You can get all of the SSR. We have all of the Dirt Midget setups available on the website for free. You just go to schoolofsimracing.net, click on the button that says join community, and you'll get an email that's got all the information that'll give you access to the free membership site, the Facebook group, the Discord, all that stuff. And when you go to the free membership site, you'll see a thing that says free setups, and you just click on the thing for the Dirt Midgets and it'll download all the setups. Okay, so this is just the free Fairbury base setup. You can also use the iRacing base setup, which is not a bad idea neither. The thing that I would do though, if you use the iRacing setup, is where it says 13 gallons of fuel, take this down to like 4 or 5 gallons. Okay, and we'll put it at 5 just because 13 gallons of fuel in the midget is a lot. Okay, it's a lot of fuel. And with these cars, when you go from like 5 gallons to 13 gallons, this car gets a little unstable. And when you're trying to learn how to drive these things, you don't want to be dealing with fuel. Okay, you don't want to be like, why is this car doing this, what the hell's going on? And a lot of times it'll pop wheelies, do all kinds of stuff because of the fuel. Okay, the added fuel. And if you're not as experienced, it's not a great learning tool. Okay, so either one of those will work just fine. But we're going to use the SSR setup, free setup, and the reason for that is this setup is much more loose than the iRacing setup in terms of the bars. It's a little bit stiffer, it's a little bit more stable in my opinion, and then it's also got much wider wheel spacing on it, which is good because we want to learn how to drive this thing with the throttle. Okay, that's the key. All dirt cars, you drive with the throttle. Okay, the first thing that you want to remember about dirt racing is that you drive the car with the throttle, you just guide it with the steering wheel. All right, asphalt, you do a little bit more, turning, stuff like that with the wheel, but on dirt, you are really just guiding the car with the wheel. You are driving the car with the throttle, right? If you want it to rotate more, you give it more gas. If you want it to straighten out more, you give it less gas, right? When you've got the thing dialed in and hooked up and you can just get on the throttle and like that's what you're doing. So the Dirt Midgets, we want to start learning this from the beginning, okay, is how to drive this thing with the throttle. Another thing to note, and I didn't cover this, with the iRacing setups, almost all of them, I believe all of them do, they have negative steering offset. I personally hate steering offset on dirt. I don't like it. It's so rare that I ever use it. And for me, all offset is just imagine if I took my steering wheel off, rotated it 4 degrees to the left, and put it back on. That's essentially what it is. Yes, there's some adjusting that can be done with the tie rods and stuff like that, the drag links, but overall, that's all you're really doing is just putting the steering wheel on, 4 degrees cocked to the left or 4 degrees cocked to the right, whether it's negative, positive. Okay, it's offset is designed. They'll tell you like it. People will say, oh, it'll help you rotate the car more. Oh, if it's negative, it helps you keep the car straighter and stuff like that. To me, learn to drive with the wheel straight. I mean, like with the wheels put on straight, and then learn to drive correctly. You shouldn't be trying to do some kind of trick to help keep the car straight. No, learn to keep the car straight, right? Like just do that. Because it's just a matter of how much you're turning the steering wheel. There is some instances if you have a smaller steering wheel where offset can help you with certain cars, help you get the car rotated and stuff like that, so you're not having to counter steer so much, because with the smaller steering wheel, especially on certain cars, if you have to get crossed up a lot, counter steer a lot, it can be kind of uncomfortable. But for the most part, turn this off. Learn to turn it off. All right, just do that. Okay, but anyways, we're going to go back to the SSR setup. Couple of things to note with the Dirt Midgets. Most of the setups that you find, especially if you get the free ones off of the SSR website, they're going to have lower rear tire pressures. These cars just went the low pressures when it comes to starting from a dead stop. A lot of times it's hard to get them to go straight. If you look at this right here on the front stretch, see how it pulls to the left, right? that's the lower tire pressures. A lot of times you will see people who just can't get the damn thing to turn to the right. So that's what that is. So if you need to put it in reverse, back up, get yourself lined up, then go, okay? Now, once you've got that, okay, you're in the car, you're cruising around here. This is what I want you to do. And you can see here, I got my telemetry, my wheel, and my throttle, so you can see, okay? What I want you to do is in the beginning, we're going to literally learn how to do this just very, very simple, okay? And the thing that you need to know is these cars have a lot of, I call it action, meaning they bounce around a lot. A lot of times you're going to feel your steering wheel get light, and what that is that's the front end, you know, having not as much weight on it, and the wheels literally dancing on top of the track. And so you're not making much contact because the front end of these cars is so light, and these cars have a ton of power, and they're pretty hooked up. Believe it or not, they should actually be more hooked up than they are. So you want to really get used to driving this thing with the throttle, like I said before. So what you're going to do is you're going to pull out onto the track here and just kind of cruise around. You can see we're only about 15% throttle. We're not much throttle, all right? And so what you're going to do is you're going to come out of the corner and then accelerate and then let off, okay? We're not even worried about what we're doing in terms of an entry. Accelerate, let off. All right. Accelerate and feel your steering wheel as you're accelerating down that straightaway. You're going to feel it just get a little bit lighter because that front end's getting a little bit lighter, okay? Now, once you can go down the straightaway straight, which is, believe it or not, pretty important, what you want to do next is we're going to come out of the corner, and now we're going to actually start working on getting this thing rotated into the corner, okay? And it doesn't matter what line you're running, but we're going to come out of the corner, and then I'm going to let off the throttle, and see how the car kind of rotates on its own? I barely even turned my steering wheel, right? Let's get a little bit better shot at it this time. So straight. See how much I turned my steering wheel to the left? I mean, I barely turned it to the left. Roll out of the throttle and let the car rotate. All right. So get on it, turn to the left, roll out, and just work on getting that thing rotated slightly into the corner. Turn left, lift. Turn left, lift. Catch, right? Okay, and that's where you're basically rotating and getting your car set on the entry, all right? This is really important because when you're racing these cars, if you don't get it set on entry and you have to try to fix it, you know, mid-corner, that's where you see a lot of people wheeling in or the car bouncing and getting all out of shape, all right? Once these things are set and you're starting to pick that throttle back up, you don't want to have to be fixing your corner, okay? So you can see that. Just rotate into the turn left, lift, and rotate it into the corner. Now once you can do that, and you're getting it just rotated in, now we're going to start catching it. So we're going to turn left, lift, catch it, and now I'm going to, you can see I'm just about 50% throttle. We want to just drive through the rest of the corner about 50% throttle right now, okay? So turn left, lift. And notice I'm just guiding the car through the rest of the corner with my steering wheel, all right? We're holding the throttle about 50%, and I'm guiding the car with my steering wheel. Lift. All right. So we're going to roll into the throttle. Turn left, lift. And we're just holding that throttle through the rest of the corner. We're not worried about what line we're on or anything like that. We're just building the feeling of it, right? The steps of putting this all together. Because it's a multi-step process. Now, once you learn all these steps, you're going to just do it like that. Like, it just becomes instinct where you're just driving like any other car, right? If you were to ask somebody who's a NASCAR Cup Series driver, right, on the sim, hey, how do you go into the corner? They'd be like, oh, well, I set myself up, I start to arc, I get myself pointed, I roll out of the throttle, I apply some brake, get the car to the yellow line at the apex, then I start picking up my throttle, and as I pick up my throttle, I'm actually starting to straighten my steering wheel out, and I'm waiting to see, I'm feeling the car if I need to feed it out to the wall, if it's loose, or apply more wheel if it's tight, right? Like, there's all these steps that are going on, and when you break it down like that, you know, if you're new or don't know how to drive, you're going to have freaking steam coming out of your ears. You're gonna be like, oh my god, dude, I'm never gonna learn this. But it's just like anything else. There's a couple of little building blocks. Once you put them all together, then it's just like putting a puzzle together. Okay, so we've got our accelerate, turn left, lift, and then we're holding the throttle right about 50% of the way through the rest of the turn. Now we are to our pretty much our final step, which is going to be driving the car through the corner. So turning, lifting, and now we're going to use the throttle to drive the car. And right in the beginning, just work on being smooth. See how I'm doing that? I'm rolling out of the throttle. See how I'm rolling into the throttle on exit? If I need the car to rotate more, I'm giving it more throttle. If I want it to rotate less, I'm giving it less throttle. Yes, we do use the steering wheel, but remember, we're guiding it with the steering wheel. What'll happen is when you start getting consistent at it here at Fairbury, you'll notice that you're not even going straight on the straightaway. You're basically pretty much cocked the entire time. At least if you're running the bottom. Okay? And just be nice and smooth with the throttle. Nice and smooth. Just rolling in, rolling out, right? Rolling out on that entry, and then once you get that thing turned in and you catch it, then roll into the throttle on that exit. And remember, when you want the car to rotate more, give it more throttle. When you want it to stay straighter, give it less throttle or hold where it's at, okay? Because you're not trying to be fast right now. You're trying to be smooth and consistent. These cars are all about being smooth and consistent. Okay, that's the thing. Anybody can go out and just stomp the throttle and hold it wide open, right? And just throw it into the corner and be all over the place. That's not going to be fast in these cars. It's not. These things, especially with the current tire model on them, you have to be smooth and consistent. Breaking these things loose and spinning the tires kills your time. It absolutely kills your time. So you want to be smooth and consistent. Do that and you'll start to see those results, okay? So once you can do that and get through the corners and all that stuff like that, and you feel comfortable, then you can start working on car placement, right? What line do I want to run, okay? Where do I want to be on the track? Now, right now, you'll see, this is what I was talking about with the car not wanting to turn to the right. Right now, the track is tacky, and the midgets don't really slick the track off that much. The track pretty much stays tacky in officials pretty much the entire time. So, if you're wanting to run the bottom, all you're going to do is just turn it in earlier. Be careful with that front end because it'll definitely pick up on you. All right, and if you want to run the top, you're just going to turn it in later, right? And you're going to be on the throttle more. You can see on the cushion, you can basically just pretty much, once you get the thing in the corner, you're just wide open. But you'll notice that when I'm wide open on the top, we're actually using the steering wheel a little bit more to guide the car. All right. And I can push harder, okay, but you don't need to be worried about that right now. Right now, you just want to be getting the fundamentals to driving the car, right? Getting it rotated in the corner, being consistent and smooth, right? Okay. So, once you got that, then go to another track. I would recommend whichever one you start with first out of the tracks that I recommended for learning, whichever one you do first, go to the next one second, right? So if you do Fairbury first, after you feel comfortable with Fairbury, go to Limaland. If you do Limaland first, after you feel comfortable, go to Fairbury, okay? And then once you can drive those two tracks pretty consistently, then you can start looking at other tracks. With the midgets, I would recommend going small to big, meaning, you know, don't go from Limaland to Williams Grove. Okay, like don't do something like that, or Port Royal, right? Go from, you know, to Lanier or I-55, right? Peevely, you know, that type of deal. You know, kind of gradually move your way up to the bigger tracks. Okay, so that right there, you guys, is how to drive the dirt midgets, right? The basic concepts for driving the dirt midgets. Remember, really focus on that throttle. That throttle is key. All right, using that throttle, rolling out, rolling in to drive the car, and then you're just guiding it with the wheel. All right, you guys, so that's going to do it all for our little dirt midget how-to video. Hopefully this helped you and kind of just shows you the basics to driving these cars. Once you get them figured out, they are a ton of fun. These are seriously some of the funnest cars on the sim, not just dirt, like on the sim. They're so much fun when you have a good group of people that you're racing with and a good track state, because in the officials, unfortunately, the tracks they don't get that slick, and when the track gets slick with these cars, it's a lot of fun. But so yeah, hopefully this helped you. And like I said, if you need to, you know, watch the video multiple times, just pay attention to that telemetry when I'm turning in, rolling out, rolling in, that type of thing. And hopefully this helps you. You know, and you can get out there, and hopefully I'll see you on the track in the Dirt Midget Officials. So that's gonna do it all. Thank you very much. Remember, if you like this, hit that like button. Also subscribe so you get notified when I put out more videos. And also when I do my live streaming. And you're gonna want to be subscribed, because I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I talked about this at the beginning of summer, maybe the end of spring, but I talked about I was going to be doing a giveaway. I am still going to be doing it. I'm going to be giving away my Butt Kicker Gamer 2, the complete setup. It's I really like it. It's really good, but unfortunately I don't use it because of the way our house is with the race foundations and the time of day that I'm on the sim and work and stuff like that, with everybody sleeping. It like just reverberates through the entire house, and so I never use it. So because of that, I'm like, well, I'll just give it away. You know, I've hardly used it, and I'll just give it away, and so that way somebody out there will get it. So make sure that you're subscribed so you get notified when that video goes up, because that video for the giveaway on how to sign up and everything will be happening here very, very soon. So you don't want to miss out on that. And then, like I said, also my live streams and everything else. Also, big shout out to you members of the Winner Circle. Thank you very much. Always appreciated. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys out there very, very soon. So you guys, that'll do it. As always, thank you very much. If you're interested in any of the stuff that School of Sim Racing, all the free stuff we have to offer, there's links for everything down in the description below. And until next time, I want to wish you good luck, good racing. Take care.